Anna, who's that? It appears to be a man, late 40s, sporting a beanie, jeans, and a bright orange jumper. It couldn't be. It is, it's Mr. Cummings. Well, hello, Dom. Great to see you on your lockdown tour. Leg 4, is it? Crikey, you've made it to Tyneside. Of course, some might say it'd be like Coles to Newcastle for you to pay us a visit up here. But, well played, man. Got any scintillating 10,000 word blog pieces for us to peruse? I am just after a bit more of that fix of semi-digested science and fully digested elitist game theory. Oh, what? You have? Well, I'm looking forward to it so much, Dom. Really, I am. Thank you. Now, I've been nowhere near Barnard Castle, County Durham. I mean, Ousburn Park, which is about 10 minutes legwork away, is the furthest I've been since the 11th of March. Now, welcome. Welcome especially to this, the very first episode of the first, surely only, series of May's Miniatures. Basically, this is a daily reading of a short story that I like, prefaced by a wry introduction, a bit like that Anglo-Norwegian Gadji who presented ITV's late 1970s and 1980s anthology series Tales of the Unexpected, from some sort of ornate drawing room type set. Now, I have no fancy sets. The camera tripod is composed of books, including the Alan Clark at the BBC box set, liner notes. And possibly there's going to be a bit more chin-stroking earnestness in my arsenal. Now, I don't do Kindle too often, folks. You just have to look at my many double-stacked bookshelves to see why. But I do have a Kindle edition of old Anton Chekhov's complete works. And in this, no doubt unscholarly edition, this one I have selected is chronologically his very first short story. I must admit, I have read very little Chekhov. Studying literature via the national curriculum at school and the college in Sunderland and the English tripos at Cambridge Uni doesn't really force you to read any literature by the greats of European, American, Asian or African literature. I admit to my reading insularity. Chekhov was born in 1860 in Taganrog, a port city in southwest Russia, today close to the border with Ukraine. Along with the Scandinavians Ibsen and Strindberg, he is credited as a major innovator in modernist theatre. It's difficult to imagine Samuel Beckett, James Joyce and others writing in quite the same way without these various forerunners. This early Chekhovian story critiques traditional social mores with a deft, light touch. Anton Chekhov, A Naughty Boy. Translated by Marion Fell, 1915. Ivan Lapkin, a youth of pleasing exterior, and Anna Zamblitskaya, a girl with a tip-tilted nose, descended the steep river bank and took their seats on a bench at its foot. The bench stood at the water's edge in a thicket of young willows. It was a lovely spot. Sitting there, one was hidden from all the world and observed only by fish and the daddy longlegs that skimmed like lightning across the surface of the water. The young people were armed with fishing rods, nets, cans containing worms and other fishing appurtenances. They sat down on the bench and immediately began to fish. "I am glad that we are alone at last," began Lapkin, glancing behind him. "I have a great deal to say to you, Miss Anna, a very great deal. When first I saw you, you got a bite. I realized at last the reason for my existence,
I knew that you were the idol at whose feet I was to lay the whole of an honourable and industrious life. That's a big one, Biting. On seeing you, I fell in love for the first time in my life. I fell madly in love. Don't pull yet, let it bite a little longer. Tell me, dearest, I beg you, if I may aspire, not to a return of my affection. No, I am not worthy of that. I dare not even dream of it. But tell me if I may aspire to pull. With a shriek, Anna jerked the arm that held the fishing rod into the air. A little silvery green fish dangled, glistening in the sunlight. Goodness gracious, it's a perch. Oh, be quick, it's coming off. The perch fell off the hook, flopped across the grass toward its native element, and splashed into the water. Somehow, while pursuing it, Lapkin accidentally seized Anna's hand instead of the fish, and accidentally pressed it to his lips. Anna pulled it away, but it was too late. Their lips accidentally met in a kiss. It all happened accidentally. A second kiss succeeded the first, and then followed vows and the plighting of troth. Happy moments! But perfect bliss does not exist on earth. It often bears a poison in itself, or else is poisoned by some outside circumstances. So it was in this case. When the young people had exchanged kisses, they heard a sudden burst of laughter. They looked at the river in stupefaction. Before them, up to his waist in water, stood a naked boy. It was Collier, Anna's schoolboy brother. He stood there, smiling maliciously with his eyes fixed on the young people. Aha, you're kissing one another, are you? All right, I'll tell Mama. I hope that, as an honourable boy, faltered Lapkin, blushing. To spy on us is mean, but to sneak is low, base, vile. I am sure that, as a good and honourable boy, you... Give me a rouble and I won't say anything, answered the honourable boy. If you don't, I'll tell on you. Lapkin took a rouble from his pocket and gave it to Collier. The boy seized it in his wet hand, whistled and swam away. The young couple exchanged no more kisses on that occasion. Next day, Lapkin brought Collier a box of paints from town and a ball. His sister gave him all her old pillboxes. They next had to present him with a set of studs with little dogs' heads on them. The bad boy obviously relished the game and began spying on them so as to get more presents. Wherever Lapkin and Anna went, there he went too. He never left them to themselves for a moment. The little wretch, muttered Lapkin, grinding his teeth. So young and yet so great a rascal! What will become of us? All through the month of June, Collier tormented the unhappy lovers. He threatened them with betrayal. He spied on them, and then demanded presents. He could not get enough, and at last began talking of a watch. The watch was given to him. Once during dinner, while the waffles were on the table, he burst out laughing, winked, and said to Lapkin, Shall I tell them, eh? Lapkin blushed furiously and put his napkin into his mouth instead of a waffle. Anna jumped up from the table and ran into another room. The young people remained in this situation until the end of August, when the day came at last on which Lapkin proposed for Anna's hand. Oh, what a joyful day it was! No sooner had he spoken with his sweetheart's parents and obtained their consent to his suit than Lapkin rushed into the garden in search of Collier. He nearly wept with exultation on finding him, and caught the wicked boy by the ear. Anna came running up too, looking for Collier, and seized him by the other ear. The pleasure depicted on the faces of the lovers when Collier wept and begged for mercy was well worth seeing. Dear, good, sweet angels, I won't do it again. Ouch, ouch, forgive me, Collier implored them. They confessed afterward that during all their courtship they had never once experienced such bliss, such thrilling rapture, as they did during those few moments when they were pulling the ears of that wicked boy.